think she's just a wonderful character. I think people are going to laugh and be horrified at the same time. They're going to go like this. They're not going to believe it, I don't think. Get to work!
Despite a career built on heavy-duty roles,
No!
the Oscar-winning actress is realizing a lifelong ambition with this part.
I've always wanted to sing. I've always wanted to do musicals. I've sung in the shower, but I haven't done it in public. So I guess I'm getting to, fulfill the dream.
Just got here this morning. $3, 2 bags, 1 me. Just got here this morning. $3, 2 bags, 1 me.
We only live to kiss your ass.
Kiss it? Hell, we'll even wipe it for you.
From here on in, it's easy street.
Any bars on that street? 24 happy hours a day. Oh, boy!
We'll stop Jehovah's at the gate.
Can I see that pamphlet, sir? My God, this house is freaking sweet.
$3, 2 bags, 1 me. Say, where does a young prostitute get started in this town?
NYC just got here this morning. $3, 2 bags, 1 me.
Molly, do you remember when those videos came, the compilations of different productions doing the $3, 2 bags, 1 me?
Vaguely, but I feel like that was mostly a Twitter thing, and I think Twitter is a hellscape, so I will not sign on there. Yeah,
it had such.
You're not
greats.
wrong.
There was one where the girl had 1 bag.
$3, 1 bag, 1 me, because
So
she was holding
just
a
one
microphone with her other hand.
Yeah,
so
so
she
she
could only carry 1 bag.
$3, 1 bag, 1 me.
I mean, the flexibility of live performance, we love it.
I love that they couldn't give her a little messenger bag to carry, so they could still have her.
Nope, there was
have
no
2
other
bags.
solution to that problem.
Nope, it's changed the lyrics of a Tony-winning musical. Yeah. Welcome back to April Annie.
Woo! Happy April.
How are we feeling? We're we're more than halfway through.
Yes.
How do we
2
feel?
Annies in.
As I sat down to the second Saturday night in a row of watching the musical Annie, it wasn't exactly how I imagined my life in my 30s, but I also wasn't mad. Once I was in it and I was watching Audra, I was like, there were worse ways to spend a Saturday.
It wasn't how I imagined my 30s, but it also wasn't not how I imagined my 30s.
Yeah. It's how I imagined my 60s, probably.
I'm sure that the Molly in my senior pictures that I shared last episode would have been thrilled to learn that would be her 30s.
Absolutely.
Hey, RJ, welcome to your 60s.
Go, go, go.
This is a preview of when we all Golden Girls and live with each other in Miami when we're 60.
Yeah. Are we doing Miami? We don't want to do Palm Springs?
I'm not moving to Florida. You can't say gay there.
Miami will be in the ocean by the time that we're in our 60s.
That's true.
So
That's true.
Palm Springs will be a luscious
luscious
place
green.
to live, likely.
Yes,
Yeah.
it'll be lush, very lush.
We're not.
Well, my personal relationship with this Annie.
Well, we're not doing a 1-minute summary because it's the same as last week.
Get on board, y'all. It's Annie.
Unless
Annie.
no, I don't even think we need to.
No.
And then we're not going to talk about relationships. The only thing I would say is I did own this one on VHS.
And I will say, I think this may have been the first conscious time I saw the whole movie. I have seen clips because I kept thinking this was the version of Annie that I saw when I was a child, but it was in fact the original.
The 82.
Yeah, because so the 82 is definitely like my Annie, but Adam, for you,
This
one is
Adam's
your
Annie.
Annie.
I would say that this is my Annie in just that I'd seen it. I definitely watched it a few times as a kid, but this was not in like heavy rotation in my home.
Okay.
There were parts of this movie that I was like, oh, I remember this moment. Yeah.
I think that I watched it because it aired on ABC, right? When it first, that was its first
The Wonderful
airing.
World of Disney, in fact.
My memory was like we watched it and then I like went to school the next day and everyone like talked about whether that was a good Annie or not. Which I don't know.
wow.
If, like, did it truly have enough cultural relevance that I had like multiple people at school that I could talk to about it? I don't know.
Are you asking me about the background of this film, Molly? Is that your
truly am
segue?
segueing.
Oh my
She
God.
must be.
She said, I want to get through this episode quickly.
Wow, this is our first 25-minute episode.
Yeah. And it's just 20 minutes of us talking about Audra McDonald. Because unfortunately, she is not really represented in the movie musical canon. It's like this and then Beauty and the live action Beauty and the
She just wants to make her Grey's Anatomy spin-off shows and just cash those checks and
Cash the
she
checks.
doesn't need to sing anymore, y'all. She'll do what she wants to do at this phase.
Yeah, tune in to our next podcast where we just watch the Gilded Age and talk about accent work in the Gilded Age. It's great. So this movie, to call it a movie is let's say this TV movie, made for TV movie.
Yeah.
Is written by Irene Mecchi, as I believe how you say her last name. She also helped write the screenplay for The Lion King and Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh.
So she was like in the Disney
She's
you know,
in-house.
bubble.
She's
in-house.
And by written by we mean like she adapted the stage show to
Yes.
screen. How is she
Screenplay.
credited?
It says written by on Wikipedia.
Okay, well, you don't have any more details than that.
No.
I'm just curious how different it is from the stage show, but maybe we can wait on that.
It says written by Irene Mecchi, and then under that it says musical Charles Strauss, Martin Charnin, and Thomas Meehan.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Wikipedia is the only source of information that exists, so that's all we'll ever know.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll never know.
It was directed by Rob Marshall, so this is our second Marshall work in this podcast series. It stars Kath Into the Woods. Oh no, third Chicago. This is our third.
He didn't do Dreamgirls, right?
No, that's
I keep messing those.
That's
two up.
the other one.
Yeah, I know.
The Greatest Showman guy and he's maybe doing the Guys and Dolls and that one.
Bill Condon. Directed
Bill
Dreamgirls.
Condon. Rob Marshall's not problematic, right? I'm just going to double check that. But like, I feel like he's fine.
He's problematic in that he's gay. So in Florida, he would be problematic because you can't say gay there.
He's not allowed in the state.
Topical.
You know what's great is that this episode is coming out in the middle of April, and I don't know if that joke will even still be relevant.
I hope by then.
I hope it's not.
Yeah,
But sure as heck hope it's not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that Rob Marshall was born in Madison, Wisconsin. What up, go Badgers? And I don't see a tab on Wikipedia for controversy, so I'm going to assume he's fine. And say, I feel like he turns in reliable directorial versions of musicals time after time. Good job,
Absolutely.
Rob Marshall.
I would say they are typically not my favorite movie musicals, but they are like they're like
bad.
BFA well done. They're like you go to see a BFA show because you know you're going to show up, you're going to experience the entertainment, it's going to be polished, and then you're going to go home and never think about it again. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I mean, I'd say
Not all the time.
Chicago's a
I would
bit
say
above
Chicago's
that
the
level
best
for
version.
me.
Chicago is the
Yeah.
best version. Of
But in
that, for
general,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, I think, a solid one-off on his canon. So it stars Kathy Bates as Miss Hannigan, Alan Cumming as Rooster, Audra McDonald as Grace Farrell, Kristen Chenoweth as Lily St. Regis, Victor Garber as Daddy Warbucks, Andrea McCardle, who was the original Annie. She is the star to be in when they go to see the Broadway musical, so she's a little solo.
The original Annie from Broadway. She's not the
Correct.
1989, because that could also be.
Correct.
Or 1982 version.
82,
she's
yeah.
Broadway.
Broadway. Alicia Morton plays Annie. And then we have Lelaine, Lizzie McGuire's best friend Miranda.
Amazing.
She plays Kate. Danielle Wilson plays Duffy. Sarah Hyland plays Molly. Sarah Hyland famously is the daughter in
Haley?
Modern Family.
I think is her name Haley.
Yeah. Erin Adams plays Tessie. Nania Miata plays July, which is a character name.
Yes.
Sure.
And Marissa Rago plays Pepper.
I just want to say, yeah, this is a much grumpier Pepper, I feel like, than the original one's more spunky to me.
Yeah,
sure.
But
It's
also,
the haircut.
it took me until, it's only haircut. That's the only acting that's happening. It took me until Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile to recognize both Lelaine and Sarah Hyland.
Oh.
Yeah, we were looking for Lelaine because we saw her name in that opening credit sequence, and so we were like, Lelaine! Because famously Lelaine is, I believe, half Filipino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So RJ, of course, has a rolling Rolodex in his head of
he knows
all
every
the Filipino
American
stars.
person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not just stars, just any person
any.
that's also Filipino. He knows them.
Yeah.
I was so surprised when I realized that, and then I did a little Wikipedia deep dive. Did you know that Lizzie McGuire only ran for 2 seasons?
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
But Disney Channel, those like kids shows like that don't have normal seasons. They're like 40 episodes per season.
Okay, so maybe that's part of it, but also the amount of cultural capital that property holds in my brain in proportion to how many seasons there are is wild.
It feel like it like tracked your like prepubescent.
It was a defining part of my childhood with the Lizzie McGuire years.
Yeah.
I did What Dreams Are Made Of at a talent show. My brother told me that his first crush was on Hilary Duff. Like, it was it was when we became adolescents was when Lizzie McGuire entered our household.
I remember the lead up to the Lizzie McGuire movie. I was like, this is going to be an event, family.
The greatest
like
movie
we
of
are all going.
But I think it goes back to that conversation we had. Was it last week? I don't remember. All of the episodes are blending together about how theater for young audiences is like so segmented down to be like it is for like, and so once they're out of that age range, you're like, well, gotta go. Like, I think Hannah Montana ran for only 3 seasons, which is like crazy. And Hannah Montana that was like shocking that they extended it 1 more season. It was like a big deal.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I did not watch Hannah Montana because that was when I felt like I was too old for Disney Channel. But so I guess it's that Lizzie McGuire hit. I think I looked up the years too, but I can't remember now. But it must have been that it hit me just perfectly at the time when like that was what I needed to see in those 2 years. And then I was over that and it was the next thing.
Because I want to say
like 02 to 04.
Yeah, because after Lizzie, it would have been like the Raven years. And that was already like dipping into fresh, like almost freshman year of high school, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like That's So Raven was a show that I like caught some episodes of, but I didn't like watch it. So it was like I was just leaving the Disney Channel phase.
So Lizzie ran from 01 to 04.
Yeah.
And there were 65 episodes total.
So yeah,
so I would have been like 9
middle
to
school.
9 to 12-ish era.
Yeah. But that was also like Disney Channel back then was doing more middle school kind of ages, and I think now it's more
and the like cartoons were like, you know, Recess Weekenders, like very
elementary
amazing
school.
cartoons. I just feel like I have no reason to claim that I know what's currently on Disney Channel. They may still make things for middle schoolers. I have no idea.
No, I feel like it's I don't know. I guess they kind of do. I always feel like it's more high school now, but I don't actually know.
No, it's definitely still like
tweens.
It's definitely tweens.
Also, keep in mind that when you are a child, the thing that you always want is the next phase of your life.
Yes.
So when I was in middle school, I watched things about high schoolers because that's what I wanted to fantasize about my life being. Because once I was a high schooler, I truly have it all figured out.
And now that we're in our 30s, we're watching Annie.
Yes.
We're trying to reclaim our lost childhood because we were so.
We're trying to become Miss Hannigan. Obviously,
yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So to remind everybody, the songs are by Charles Strauss and Martin Charnin, music and lyrics respectively. But the additional score in this piece is by Danny Trube. The producers were John Whitman, Craig Zadan, Neil Marin, and Chris Montan. The cinematography is by Ralph Bode. The editing was done by Scott Vickery. Its running time is 90 minutes.
Amazing. Perfect.
And if I said the only thing I liked about it was that it was a 90-minute Annie, I would still give it 5 stars for that reason. The production companies were Walt Disney Television, Columbia TriStar Television, because it was a Columbia property originally, so they worked together on this one. Storyline Entertainment, Chris Montan Productions, and its distributor was Buena Vista Television. On ABC for The Wonderful World of Disney, which ran from, I think, 95 to something. I don't remember what. But the original release date of this Annie was November 7th, 1999.
Didn't you too when
right
you
before
lived
Y2K.
in Florida? Oh, yeah. Very important context. When you lived in Florida, didn't you live in Buena Vista or like on Buena Vista Drive or something?
Lake Buena Vista is the name of the area.
Yeah.
Like the neighborhood that you lived in?
If you looked at the actual address of Disney World, it is under Lake Buena Vista, Florida. Because Buena
that's
Vista,
the municipality that Disney created under Reedy Creek Improvement District.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm asking you to ask, is it that there was a place that Disney is by and then they took that name, or the other way around, that the place got named after something that Disney
the place got named
after
Disney, because they're all California-y.
Buena Vista was, I think, the street the original studio was on. I think it was on Buena Vista Street originally, and so they've just used that name for a bunch of stuff ever since.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Okay.
They do that a lot. So anyway, so this movie, we're coming off Cinderella. Cinderella was 1997. See our Cinderella episode from 2020.
Yeah, season 1, baby.
Season 1.
Truly
the end of
amazing
season
piece of
1.
Cinema.
Yeah.
Cinderella was the most watched ABC movie musical or movie ever done, and this has the record for the second most watched.
Why don't they go back to making these? They do the live ones now, but do this instead.
I don't know. And I've said that since they started doing the live ones, and I was like, why are we trying to do something that SNL only perfected after 10 years of mess on TV?
Yeah.
And
you would think with Disney Plus, they have so many channels, avenues, they have so many production companies that they could tap into now.
And I'm sure that some of those made for TV musicals crashed and burned, but some of them became endearing classics, like the Cinderella one. And I don't think any of the lives have become something that people keep going back to and watching, right?
Well, and I don't think you even can, because they're not available to buy, or they'd have no other, they're not in syndication, they don't replay them or anything. It's so strange.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
I mean, not to be live events when we're all theater people, but I just feel
but live TV events, that's not the same at all.
Yeah, that's not it.
We fought so hard to not have to do live TV.
Although Jesus Christ Superstar was the best one that they've done. It was an absolute slay.
I've watched none of them, so I won't comment.
Great. So anyway, so this is the second most watched of the movie musicals. I think they also did, I know they did The Music Man. I know they did Bye Bye Birdie. And I know that they did Once Upon a Mattress. I think those are the other three.
This and Cinderella are the only ones that I've actually seen.
I watched Once Upon a Mattress. I really liked that, and it was good timing for me as
Carol Burnett?
Carol Burnett and Tracy Ullman, I think, is the woman who plays
Fred,
the princess. Yeah. And it was just as I was getting into doing more theater, and I loved the song Shy, and that was a very good, it had a lot of good roles for girls that are not just dainty little princessy roles. So I really liked that at the time. And I assume it holds up. I don't know though.
I think it's just shot weird. I watched a bit of it because I was in Once Upon a Mattress in high school, and I like watched parts of it, and just the kind of production budget I think was I don't know what was going on. It seems weird, but anyway, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're talking about today. So Rob Marshall, in case you forgot the conversation from Cinderella, Rob Marshall choreographed the Cinderella that was on ABC. And then the producers enjoyed him so much, they thought he did so much great work, and like he really helped the direction along as well, that they wanted him to be the director. And originally he was like, no, I'm truly just a choreographer. It's truly not for me. And they were like, no, we really want you. So he then agreed. But then the Disney execs were like, oh, we don't trust him. He's never done anything before. Like, da-da-da-da-da. We can't give him all this money to do this big thing. We don't know. And then the producers were like, well, then we won't do it. And they were like, well, let's get a list of directors and we'll go through and we'll find someone. And they're like, we're not going to do Annie if you do not let us have Rob Marshall, which is crazy. So they won the fight.
The balls to say that to Disney execs.
And again, like I said earlier, I think this is competently directed.
Yes. Yeah.
Cohesive. Very solid. He also having like a dance background, I think he understands like how the camera needs to move to show off dance, because there are a lot of great dancing sequences in this. The only thing is like it has the like made for TV movie problem where like nothing is like wider than this. Like a wide shot is just like a full body.
The tightest shot of Warbucks' manor, like just showing the gate.
Yeah, it's also weird. I was thinking about this as I was watching it, that I feel like things for TV are always just brighter. There's just like more lights on the set when it's made for TV, and that's how you can tell.
Yeah. I also think, I mean, this was also an era in TV, and there was not prestige television yet. HBO, I think, had just debuted The Sopranos this year. So like we are not near prestige television yet. And it is now, you can watch it now on Disney Plus. That's where I'm assuming we all watched it. You watch it on Disney Plus, and it is like, I think in like not HD. It's not been like digitized. It seemed like it was like shot on film, and then they like projected the film on a wall and then shot the wall and then put that on Disney Plus. Because I was like, this is grainy, girl. What are we watching? But there is something kind of like, I don't know. It reminds me of my childhood, because our childhood, because we all
you know what it's the soft transition into the commercial breaks that really got me.
Well, yeah, that really tells you it was for TV, but I just mean apart from that.
But it fully transported me to like, wow, I am watching
a TV movie.
Yeah.
I almost wanted them to like include, because something did that. I don't remember what streaming service. I think it was Disney Plus, but I'm not totally sure. One of the streaming services put something that was like originally a TV event onto their streaming service, and they like included some original like time specific ads.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, this is amazing. Like it totally gets you into the mood. And like, I think a couple of those could have been fun, of like an Herbal Essences commercial.
Yes.
Just for a bit of context, there was a reshoot that happened. Apparently, maybe the execs. I wasn't sure who, but there was some kind of concern about how America would see a white man and a black woman getting engaged.
Oh my God!
The end of this.
In 1999,
after Cinderella. In which Victor Garber was married to the queen, who was Whoopi Goldberg.
I guess, though, that they don't have any, like, romantic... I mean, they are married to each other, but we don't, like, see them kiss or, like, do... Right? I don't remember anything like that.
We don't even see them kiss here. They hug. You know, I love a proposal hug.
Yeah.
But that's
I mean, that's
wild.
what you and I did when we got engaged.
That's true. We didn't want to...
We just went, bud, good job. So there was supposed to be the reshoot. The reshoot happened, and allegedly Victor Garber like threw the scene so that they wouldn't use the take.
Well, allies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what allyship looks like.
Okay.
I don't want to praise a white person too much for doing something, so I just am not saying anything. I'm glad that they included the version where they got engaged. That's ridiculous that it was ever a question.
I agree that it's crazy. It's fine.
Don't you say.
Do I think that Grace Farrell and Daddy Warbucks should be together at the end of this? Absolutely not.
Okay. We'll get into
But it has nothing to do with their race.
There needs to be a whole discussion about the final. Yeah. So let's pin it. Yeah.
I'm truly wondering if this happens in the 2014 one too. Because it's Rose Byrne.
And
Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx,
right?
Yeah. Anyway, so this was nominated for a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of awards. Like on the Wikipedia page, it's like this. I'm demonstrating with my hands, which is perfect for a podcast.
It's like
for a podcast. But actually, it's more like this long. So maybe if we said this, but more like this, but like kind of this long.
Yeah.
This,
what you're doing right now,
I mean, like that. This and that.
Oh,
you know what
perfect! I mean? Just exactly what you're demonstrating. What I'm seeing is exactly correct.
So let's just talk about the Emmys. This was nominated for Outstanding Made-for-Television Movie, Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Miniseries or Movie for Kathy Bates, Outstanding Directing, Outstanding Art Direction, Outstanding Casting, Outstanding Cinematography, Outstanding Costumes, Outstanding Hairstyling, Outstanding Single Camera Picture Editing for a Miniseries, and Outstanding Sound Mixing.
Oh, they really fit all the shmemmies in here too.
And it won
creative arts.
It won Outstanding Music Direction, and it won Outstanding Choreography.
So that's Christmas on the Square 1, 99 Annie 0.
It was also nominated for Kathy Bates was nominated for the Emmy for this as well. Or I'm sorry, the Golden Globe. The Golden Globe. Was nominated for the Golden Globe for this. Pretty much everything, a lot of the like one-off nominations on the list were like Kathy Bates.
That's a choice.
That is very interesting.
And then the final piece of background information I have is that on everyone's favorite Fresh Air with Terry Gross, support your local NPR station. It is March.
Just like Molly's family, who owns every NPR tote bag available.
Yeah, get your tote.
Get your tote. Join the wine club. Anna Kendrick revealed that she auditioned for this Annie, but we don't know if it was just like general orphans, Annie specifically.
She put in her name in the casting call.
Yeah. So anyway, Anna Kendrick could have been in this. Among the likes of Lelaine.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have. Let's get into it. So we'll just start from the same place kind of we started last week with Hannigan.
Now I'm going to say something here that I think I believe we all agree.
Okay, I also want to say before you say this, Kathy Bates at this point in her career has won an Academy Award for Best Actress for Misery. Mm-hmm. You may continue.
She was not good. This was Hannigan. It's a different take. It's a more sanitized take of what it's hard to compare to.
It is unfair to compare Kathy Bates to Carol Burnett. Absolutely. Removing from that, I thought Kathy Bates did an excellent community theater production of Annie, Miss Hannigan.
I don't think it's a quality question.
Yeah.
I think that she turned in a dramatic portrayal of Miss Hannigan.
It's too grounded.
It's like, and I actually think her singing is pretty good. I didn't know what to expect since I've never seen Kathy Bates in a singing role before. She just was like earnestly playing a woman who runs an orphanage and who cares about the kids, but like not that much, and could be persuaded to get a $50,000 check instead of taking care of the orphans. But like, she's also not that mean about it, and she's just like a very middling character.
Yeah, it's a very wishy-washy Hannigan, because there is like an endearing quality to like how she treats the kids. Obviously, like they make a point that like she's never hit them or anything, but then like later when they reveal the scam and Rooster was like, "Oh yeah, we'll take care of Annie," she's like, "Great." So it just felt like a Hannigan that didn't really have any decisions made. Like there weren't any real firm decisions made of how this Hannigan actually fits and how she actually feels.
And Hannigan is canonically a comedic character, right? It's not just that I've seen Carol Burnett play her, right?
I think that's why Rooster is there, because Rooster is the menacing villain and she's more of the comedic.
Yeah.
And it's
I did feel like it wasn't that she was like more menacing in this. I just felt like it was like not, she couldn't, in Shirtlift's guideposts for acting, he talks about finding the humor. And I don't think she or Rob or together that they found the humor in moments for this character. She does in her song, Little Girls, she does the same bit like 4 times in a row where she throws something like over her shoulder. It's like 2 socks. She throws a thing out the door. She throws a thing at the end. And I was just like, that's not a bit and it's not funny. So you don't need to keep repeating it. Like there was no like punchline at any point in this performance, I felt like.
Do you think though that she was trying to be funny and didn't do it? Or do you think that she was like, to distinguish myself from Carol Burnett, will play a not funny version of Miss Hannigan?
I think that there are a lot of changes script-wise for her, and I think because it is the Disney version, she was neutered. Because she is like not sexual at all. And I don't think it needed to be like Carol Burnett level, like dry humping Mr. Bubbles in the car or whatever. I don't remember what his name is. Mr. Bundles. But I also was like, when he came by and was just like, "Oh, I'm just your laundry guy," and she was like, "Well, thanks, Mr. Bundles." I was like
they flipped
There's
it.
nothing happening.
It was he was the one that's like, let me take you out sometime. And she was like, no, I'm saving myself for
Daddy
Warbucks.
Oliver Warbucks. And I was like,
yeah.
Huh?
And she also obviously doesn't drink. But I refuse to believe that you can't, like there are no comedic avenues if you can't be drunk or sexual. Like obviously you could make this character funny.
I do think it's a perfect storm of, I think she genuinely interpreted Hannigan in a more grounded way. And also, Rob Marshall probably created an environment that is so neutered, and not just him, but also like the powers that be at Disney. That like there's a bigger kind of picture for the whole movie to fit a certain type.
I also just felt like the dialogue that she delivers in this movie just has less jokes in general. Like I just felt like there was the weird thing where she was like, the first interaction she has with Annie where she talks about how she was like, I've never hit, like, there was like this like serious, like, I would never hit you moment. And then like, she was like, no, but the threat is scarier. And I was like, I was like, is there going to be a joke in this movie at any point? But thank God Kristen Chenoweth's in this.
Yeah. The dialogue doesn't help, but I also refuse to believe that another person couldn't find humor in this character.
Yeah. No, I just think. Yeah. I just think I think it was probably a confluence of many things that were just like, won't do that.
I was surprised because I thought I was like, why would Kathy Bates agree to be in a TV movie of Annie? And then I was like, maybe she was like, look, how often do I get to play a fun character like this? Like Kathy Bates often gets cast as like the villain or like a very sad or very serious character, right? And so I was like, maybe she was like, yeah, like I'll do this made for TV movie thing because I get to be the comedic character and that's really fun. But then she just like didn't. And then I was like, again, now Kathy Bates, I'm confused about why you agreed to be in this movie.
Around this time, she also did that other
It feels like a Dame Judi Dench thing all over again.
Remember she did that other
Molly
TV
Sargent
movie? Didn't she did the late night TV movie at the same around this time?
No,
too, right?
that was like early 90s.
Oh,
I think that was pre-Misery.
Because
it was directly after where she probably shot it right before Misery.
Because I was just wondering, like, was this just like a general, like, this is the new frontier, you know, TV, like in the 90s TV.
I do think, though, here's what I will say about Kathy Bates. I think she's a really weird career for someone who has literally won an Oscar. Yeah. I don't know if it's that she just like has an interesting taste and she just does things that she wants to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that she just doesn't get offered a bunch of stuff because she is a very specific type. But like the fact that she's been in multiple American Horror Story seasons and the fact that she is currently in commercials, in ads on Facebook as the grandma in the Merge Mansion game blows my socks off.
I didn't know that last part. It's wild.
Crazy. I was like, is that Kathy Bates?
I think, let's be honest, Kathy Bates is not conventionally attractive, and I think that Hollywood often doesn't know what to do with her because of that. So I don't doubt that there's at least a part of that is
100%
her not getting the parts that she should get based off of her talent level. But it's weird also because Hannigan is like it's not a part that I would think if you were like name 50 actresses that could play Miss Hannigan, I don't know that Kathy Bates would have been on that list for me.
It's also like she literally 2 years before, her and Victor Garber are in the Oscar-winning film Titanic together. So that's also like this is post-Titanic. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
Just a weird point in her career.
That we're still in, I guess.
That I guess we haven't left. We're still there. Anyway, remember when she was in that stupid Clint Eastwood movie?
Robert Jewell.
Jules?
Yeah, where she was the mom of the...
And she got nominated for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's listen to a little bit of her version of Little Girls, which I thought was good. Or her, like, singing was good.
Little girls, everywhere I turn, I can see them. Little girls, night and day, I eat, sleep, and breathe them. I'm an ordinary woman with feelings. I like a man to nibble on my ear, but I'll admit, no man has bent. So how come I'm the mother of the year?
Now let's listen to a little bit of Adam's version of Little Girls.
Little girls, everywhere I look, I can see them. But I do want to talk about not more importantly, but also just as importantly, Alan Cumming and Kristen motherfucking Chenoweth.
Kristen the Chenoweth.
I felt like Easy Street was pretty boring.
Really?
Wow, I fully disagree. When they go outside. Oh, okay.
Wow.
No,
I will say I only watch Kristen when I watch this song.
That's true.
Yeah.
She does make it very animated.
She's also wearing the brightest garment in the room.
And she is acting at knowing that she's not the focal point of the shot, she is like constantly doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just thought, like, we've covered that I find Kathy Bates' performance very just like middle of the road. Feels like she didn't make any character choices, honestly.
Yeah.
And then, like, I love Alan Cumming. He's our Scottish bisexual king. But, like, I just...
Much better accent work.
I just, like, wasn't... Again, like, I didn't feel anything in particular. I didn't really connect that much to his character. I don't know. I mean, there's probably a bigger uphill battle for me because I'm so attached to the 82 version, and Tim Curry is so good in that. But like, I just didn't like care that much about this rooster. But Lily, I was like 100% down for.
Yeah. It does feel crazy to like compare Kristen Chenoweth and Bernadette Peters and come out on the side of Kristen Chenoweth. It really feels like a crazy
we are the trash millennial music theater people.
Yeah, but I don't think it's anything against Bernadette. I just think that Bernadette was in a scene with 2 other amazing performers, so she was like holding her own equally in like a threesome, whereas Kristen feels like she's like dominating the scene to me.
Yes, with like no lines. Like it's just all like looks, which is if she really took the note of acting is listening and reacting to its like most extreme point.
They do the bit about the line where it's like, we know you're listening down there, and then they look down. Yeah. And she's on the other side of a desk, and then she like slides across the desk to look over the edge of the desk to see where they were looking. And it's such a funny bit in the song, and I didn't know that there was a way to make it funnier, but she managed to find a way to do it.
It's so good. All of her talk about choices. All of her choices just feel like very like, I mean, Ditzy Blonde is like was a very popular trope in 1999. I remember all the jokes, but it really does feel like she just like leaned into it, and I think it works really well, and I like her accent. I just think she's very funny in this. Can we talk a little bit about? Well, let me play Easy Street for just a second, just so you can hear this version.
You don't get there by playing from the rule book.
You stack the aces.
You load the dice. Mother dear, oh, we know you're down there listening. How can we follow your sweet advice to Easy Street? Easy Street, where you sleep till noon.
Yeah.
Shit repeats. Easy Street, better get there soon.
Can we talk a little bit about the change at the end?
Yes.
To have Mrs. Mudge be Miss Hannigan and not Lily St. Regis.
It's truly such an insane decision in the world of Annie that you would be like, we've got a man and a woman who Annie and the people at this house have never met that could be part of this con. But let's send the woman who's been caring for Annie her entire life and who Grace has met twice.
Yeah.
And let's put her in very light makeup, let's be honest, in order to pass her off as Mrs. Mudge. And I'm sure no one will recognize her. Why would you do this?
It does feel like a weird decision of like
we have Kathy Bates.
We have Kathy Bates, and be like, maybe the audience won't. It's gonna be funnier if it's, you know.
It's not even, the thing is it's not played for laughs. Like there are some laughs, like there are some jokes in it, like the very obvious ones where
they're trying
to like
get the
forget
money.
Annie, like those, but nothing about like her dressed up is like the joke.
No.
So I was like, well then what's the payoff?
I was wondering if, and this is RJ where I'm going to ask you in a second about how it compares to the stage show. Because then what they do is they have Lily come in and be like, oh, I think you're cutting me out of the deal. And that's how they get found out. And I was wondering if they were like, this is the only way we can figure out how to like wrap it up quickly. Is it like we have to get Lily to come in and do this, so she has to not be in on it at the beginning? But like, I don't know. So like, how does it wrap up at the end, RJ? Because I assume it's not a helicopter chase as it is the perfect 1982
No,
version.
it is absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a very what was that show? The like stupid, not stupid, but the show you based your thing on? Sleep No More. It's very Sleep No More, where the whole audience boards a helicopter and you all fly after Annie.
You know the stupid show
thing.
Sleep No More? That's the thing that everyone describes Sleep No More as. You know what?
Stupid.
It's ultimately just kind of stupid.
It's kind of
This is
stupid.
the only thing I can think of.
Not innovative, not currently still running.
Not immersive, sensory, not an amazing conversion of a space into a landscape that is constantly changing around you. Just kind of stupid, honestly.
It's just one bit that keeps going the entire night.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, what was the question?
No, in the original show, Annie asks if all of the orphans and if all of the orphans can come for Christmas. So in the last scene, it's pretty much close to what happened here.
Very
where,
close to this one.
Christmas Eve, they are about to sign the papers. Judge Brandeis comes. There's a big Judge Brandeis, and he comes in to sign the papers.
Yeah.
And then Drake is like, "There's a Mr. and Mrs. Mudge out here," and then that all of that tracks. It's just Hannigan comes in with the orphans during Christmas Day to celebrate Christmas with Annie, and then that's where it's as they're leaving. It's the same. FDR comes in and says, "We're back. We found the proof."
It's Deus Ex Roosevelt.
So FDR catches them. Lily does not bust in. Okay.
So in the 82, they still have that scene where she originally sings Tomorrow to FDR, not with Eleanor, but with the cabinet. And then that's the impetus.
The infamous Roosevelt cabinet we can all name. Here we go.
And also, and that guy, and
we'll
the
put it
other
in post.
one.
We'll put it in post.
I have a picture right here. This one,
Yeah,
and then there's that one. You all can see it.
that one. That. Yeah,
and then him,
Secretary of the Interior. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the impetus to have him help with the FBI, and that's so that he does come at the end of the movie with the papers.
So he's not just at the very end like he is in this version. He is set up in another scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's still Lily and Rooster.
Yeah.
And Miss Hannigan has brought all of the orphans. So that's how she's also
how she's on stage.
Yeah.
Does FDR also in the stage show come in and is like, "Hey, I'll get you 8 kids adopted," rather than, I don't know, being the president and being like, maybe I could improve the entire foster care system, considering the fact that I'm the president, rather than just like, I'll get these 8 kids to families?
I think it's
first of all, it's 6. So calm down.
Yeah, you're right. It's better if it's only 6.
Yeah.
I think it's the same.
I think it's the same.
He says we'll make sure you girls are all
get adopted. Yeah.
Before the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate, Annie.
Yeah.
No, you're right. There's nothing about systemic problems.
Get your leftist ideologies out of my
how dare
Annie.
How dare I talk about lefty things when I'm discussing FDR? Gosh. What do you want, some sort of a new deal with this president?
Why can't America go back to the olden days with FDR? I will say, not a single Democrat-Republic joke in this one. No.
Oh, not a political anything in sight. Yeah, nothing.
No wars.
No war. Nothing.
I don't know if you knew, no war happened during this around this time.
Well, that's true.
Not for America. Yeah.
Yeah. We've
That's
got a
true.
few years.
When Annie escapes from the orphanage and then she meets Sandy for the first
the
time.
Orphanage.
I this time around was being when I saw the dogs in cages and stuff when Sandy was going to get carted away, I was like, this really is a story about institutionalization in a way. This is where I'm going to bring in the big brain stuff this episode. So Annie is escaping from the institution where she's being raised, and then Sandy has this threat of going to the dog pound is institutions for dogs, right? And I was like, it's interesting that the movie is taking sort of a de-institutional stance in that these children should be at homes in the community and Sandy should be with the family, right?
Nuclear family.
Then Hannigan gets strapped down to get carted away, like literally strapped to like a, I don't know what you would call that, like a dolly, I guess, it's just to cart her away. And I get that they're like re-referencing the line that I found funny as a child about getting sent to the nut house, but I was like, this is really a very dark image to end on.
Yeah. No Hannigan riding an elephant in this one. Is it an elephant?
And what?
Was it an elephant last week? Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, I guess that Hannigan kind of earns her redemption more in that one because like she's been bad and then we see her not cross a line, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you like, and like this one has been just like okay morally the whole time. So there's no like reversal we can have.
Yeah.
But it's like funny that this is like, you've been talking about how it's the ABC Disney version and like everything's been very neutralized and everything, but like, haha, send her to a mental institution. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Just some
That's
good
what we did.
Fun.
That's what we did to all the women who were hysterical.
Yeah. Oh,
hysteria.
Good times.
Yeah.
Disney friendly.
I mean, yeah, but also like, I think in '99, I just think maybe the mental conversation has come a bit of a ways since then.
Yeah.
In the mainstream American culture.
We do also let black and white people kiss on screen, so I guess it's really, we've made a lot of great headway.
We almost did it, but yeah.
Yeah, I just think that that's interesting that in 1999 that felt like a fun ending.
Yeah, and I feel like comparing the two Hannigan, obviously like performance-wise, I think we prefer Carol's, but also that trajectory for Hannigan I do appreciate more than this one because I do like redeeming her in a way, especially comparing her to Rooster, and Rooster's the one that wants to like go all the way in the scam. In the original story, like it's kind of like the same thing that happens. She does get taken away, not obviously like strapped down, but she's just like she's gonna be fired.
Plot, right.
She's gonna be fired because she does have that outbreak of like, you're like the worst. I literally can't stand you out of all the orphans. Like that was pretty much close to the script. So.
I would say if I like Hannigan not being redeemed because I just think it's fine that she's the villain. Just like let her be the villain. I don't love when I would say it plays better. I don't love living in a post-Wicked era where everybody feels like they need to justify a villain's existence with like a sob story.
Famous Wicked hater, Adam.
I stand Wicked, but I'm saying that it led to a current glut of every place being like, let's take a traditional anti-hero and make them, let's understand their reasoning. But I also don't love how this one ends. The bigger thing that I was annoyed by is that she sings Little Girls 3 times, the full song and then 2 reprises. And every time there's like something that closes in front of her. And I didn't think it was like a strong enough choice for it to keep being referenced. So I was more annoyed at like the obviousness of the like choice.
That's definitely something in this adaptation. There are a lot of reprises.
Lots of reprises.
Rob Marshall. He just slapped on one just to be like, and we'll do a nice little button here so we could cut to commercial.
Right. It always cut to a commercial. It's great.
Yeah. And I think hers was, although I liked hearing it, like it was nice to be like, oh, a Little Girl's reprise. I like that. But yeah, I did feel a little jarring out of all of the more sentimental ones that we've had to experience.
I also would say her being more actively involved in the plot like makes her less morally gray than in the 82 version.
Yeah.
Her like swapping out with Lily makes her like more of a villain.
Yeah, I mean she's very involved in the plot though in the 82. She's like literally she like gets in the car immediately after they leave Warbucks' estate. It's not like she like didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, but there's something about her like literally being in the room that makes it feel like, oh, she's like in it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
She's doing the physical con.
I think that you're letting your emotions dictate justice here, Adam.
Yeah. You know, you're a woman. You're filled with them.
Classic.
Cart her off to the nut house. All right, we're moving on to Annie.
Yeah.
Annie.
She was fine.
Annie.
I have a question. Is playing Annie on film a career-killing role? Because neither this girl nor the 82 version had a career afterwards. And Covenjane was like, she was in a Beyonce video and she's like written some books, but she hasn't had any major acting roles since playing Annie.
I mean, before Annie, she was nominated for Beast of a Southern Wild, so maybe she was just like, I'm taking time.
I just think it's interesting that it's like thought of
Annie,
as this huge child role, and then like, but nobody who's actually played Annie on film has like parlayed that into a greater film career.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at her. Wow.
We're on Covenjane's
Wikipedia,
and her Beast of Southern Wild accolades is
crazy.
A full page.
Good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I guess like
I think psychologically there is something of like if you are in that age and you know, work so hard to audition because you know the Annie auditions are gonna be grueling, even from a community theater to a film, like, because that's just a lot of, you know, young egos that you have to manage. And I do think there is something, I don't know, after experiencing playing Annie, I feel like
you played Annie.
Yeah, as someone who has experienced playing Annie before.
Mm-hmm.
It
was
really,
when your career died, right?
It was really hard to get back into it and find new projects because it was just so exhausting.
It's important to talk about.
And I really left it out there, you know.
I love the work you did on straight tones in Maybe.
No vibrato. I wasn't allowed to sing in vibrato.
I'm now imagining a version with RJ as an 8-year-old playing Annie, and the line that Warbucks says is, "Where's the little redheaded girl? All orphans are redheaded girls," instead of the boy line. And it's that joke that it's a little Filipino boy named Annie.
Yes, because famously that happened on our Into the Woods at Loyola, where they had to change Jack's mom's line to like, "Have you seen a little boy with raven hair?"
Okay, so it's supposed to be like red or something.
Yeah.
Y'all, oh my gosh. Okay, I saw so UW Opera did Sweeney Todd, and I went to see it this weekend, and it was good. It was like a little stand and sing because it was an opera doing it, but like I liked it, and the woman who played Levitt was amazing. And there's a line I think that must be in the original Sondheim when he's doing Pirelli's Miracle Elixir, where he says that he came down with an oriental disease, but they changed it to infectious. So in the they had subtitles because I think they just do that now for the opera whenever. And so they had it as infectious in the subtitles, but the singer sang Oriental. And it's like, whoa, well now it's way, way, way worse when he says a worse word that we've seen the other one written down.
Ay.
Ooh, Sondheim. Yeah.
I mean, he had the F words he had the F slur in the original company, so Sondheim.
Fuck?
No. The cigarette. Sorry.
Fruit?
Yeah. Fruit.
Yeah, he said fruit.
Fruity toots?
He said fruit and I mean everyone was shocked that he would include that word.
In the 70s especially, my God.
My God, nobody was saying it. So I thought, I don't know, to actually talk about her performance, I thought she was fine. I think I like 82 Annie a little better because she's a little, her just like,
yeah, it's this.
It's the like little,
it's like, let me at him. It's the scrappy dude.
This girl is a little more child actory to me, whereas the 82 Annie, I like fully believed that she was just like some plucky kid that they found. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she was also. I think I read that like her mom was in theater or something. Like, obviously you have to get involved somehow as a child actor, but like
Nepotism.
this girl,
Nepo
this girl
baby.
felt more like, okay, like she's been do in theater since she was 3 was like kind of the
Definitely,
vibes that I got from her. Yeah.
For sure.
I also just wanted curly hair.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I do.
Because I like the reveal of her in the red dress with the curly hair. I like that moment a lot. So I really appreciate that it's like a makeover. She's getting a Christmas dress.
Christmas love a makeover, yes.
I'm gonna play should I play Maybe or should I play Tomorrow?
Play Maybe because there's a better tomorrow in the movie.
Betcha he reads, betcha she sews. Maybe she's made me a closet of clothes. Maybe they're strict, as straight as a line. Don't really care as long as they're mine. So maybe now this prayer's the last one of its kind. Won't you please come get your baby?
Let's talk about the kids. The orphans in this movie, specifically in the song
Fully Dressed.
You're Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile. That whole number sold me on this movie. I am not kidding. That number was so good. They were so cute. When they do the little bit where they're on they're on their knees and they're like sliding across. I was like, this is amazing. This is what I want from musical theater. This is what I want from young children in a chorus situation. It was so cute. A+ Rob Marshall wrangling little brats. I love it.
I was telling Adam just during that number, I was like, you can picture Rob Marshall behind the camera, like miming the choreography like a show mom, just like, and do that. Yes.
Very, very Amy Poehler in Mean Girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
So proud of the girls.
I mean, I really liked it. I didn't have any sort of like huge reaction to it, but I appreciated it. I did like that there were like fully 8 orphans and Hannigan made them do a roll call at the beginning, and I was like, you do not need a roll call. You can see how many kids there are and do a head count. There's no need for this.
I will say I did miss the probably like lesser child laws that happened in the 80s where they could have 100 children in this building.
There were so many children in the orphanage.
And here
in
it's
the 80s,
just like, girl, it's 8. Like you can keep them. You can keep track of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought I thought they were cute. I liked the song. I thought there were smart things that they cut. Like I didn't think there was anything that they cut that felt like, oh, you're missing a part of the plot. Like I didn't need to see the radio show. I liked that they were just like listening to the radio and then they went into the song and I was like, great.
And it was just
I got all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the radio show. I, of course, miss Punjab. I don't know why they cut him.
That's the shame. That's the real shame here.
That's the real shame.
Where's the magic realism? Where's the magic?
Where's the tensiveness?
In other words, what's the tension?
The inside joke that only the 3 of us understand in this
and we'll
whole
never
world
explain.
that we keep telling on our podcast. Yeah, I think what I missed was like the scale of the 82 version. You know what I mean?
For sure.
The helicopter chase, riding on an elephant, like that.
Okay,
I could take or leave. But yes, I
don't
agree
know
with
what your deal is with the helicopter chase is perfect. But
I agree that this does feel like it just feels so small. And there's also something too about watching a movie now that I'm so used to a widescreen format. Like watching something that's 4:3 ratio where it's like that square instead of like having the black bars on top and bottom, that I was like, oh, I felt claustrophobic in the shot sometimes.
Huh. I feel like my TV is not that big, so I don't notice that at all. But I feel like having 8 orphans to me is very like, this is all that we're doing. Like, yeah.
It is weird that you missed the helicopter chase when we had a riveting, exciting, and
a 10-minute
heart-palpitating chase sequence between the officer and
Annie. That sequence went on for so long, and I was like, I looked at RJ like more than halfway through it, and I was like, how are we still chasing Annie?
That segment was supposed to be 15 minutes before the next commercial break.
Yeah.
It
was actually a whole act break was just one big chase sequence.
Yep. So that was what it had to be, you know?
Yeah, that one could have been cut. This could have been 85 minutes instead of 90 minutes.
If only.
Is there anything else I want to talk about? Should we talk about? I think everything else involves Grace and Warbucks.
Yeah, I think so.
Should we bring them in?
Let's bring them in. Victor Garber, Audra McDonald, thank you so much for joining us. We're letting you in the Zoom right now, so I'm just going to admit you in from the waiting room.
Thanks for staying in the waiting room for us. Yeah.
For an hour. Just on standby.
I had them log in at 7:30 just to be safe.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
2 hours and 15 minutes they've been waiting. So I think that I don't know if I like... Okay. I love Victor Garber. I love him in anything I see him in. So I can't tell if I like this Daddy Warbucks more because I just like this interpretation of Daddy Warbucks
he's
more.
reliable. He's like the Rob Marshall of acting. It's just reliable,
Or if I just like Victor Garber, so I was like endeared to him faster than I was in the 82 version.
I think that Victor Garber has a bad head for being bald. And it really distracted me.
It looked like
it was a bald cap, definitely.
But it looked like but then added like, I don't know, like some shading so it does look like you could kind of see
I didn't even notice that it was a bald cap. It wasn't about that. It's like the proportions of his head are wrong. Like, it's like too short of a head. I also am kind of afraid of bald people. I feel like it's probably important to mention that as context.
That's what's coming out now.
There was like some show that I watched with my parents as a child where there was like a villainous character who was bald who like really, really scared me. And
was
so
it
I had
Austin Powers?
It was not Austin Powers. No, it was I believe it was a Lord Peter Wimsey 8-part series. And
Adam's eyes just rolled to the back of his head.
Some masterpiece theater. Thank you.
Some very masterpiece theater. Get your tote bags, everybody.
Yeah.
So
don't forget to also donate to your local PBS station.
Yeah. So I can obviously interact with bald people like in my regular life, and I like have friends who are bald. But like when somebody's, and I think with the first Daddy Warbucks, I was like, I've seen this so many times it like didn't register.
Sure.
But this time, because I'm not used to this version, I was like kind of uncomfortable with the fact that he was bald because it's
definitely more Mr. Clean than it is the 82 version. But I also think I understand that in the original Little Orphan Annie comics that Daddy Warbucks was bald, and so that's why they insist on making him bald.
Like a kingpin,
Sure.
image.
How many people at this point know that Daddy Warbucks in the original comics was bald? Like, do we need to, is this the thing that we need to like standardize?
But I know that because he was bald in the 82. So like, it's that every time you do it, it becomes more iconic. So I don't feel like it's like the cartoon.
Well, we're not
it's
just
like
gonna
the image.
Throw around the word iconic now.
No, but it's iconic in the sense of like an icon, in that like it is, the image is more important than the source of the material. I'm not using it as
not like
a evaluative word.
Just saying, here's what I'm saying. If we can, in our next episode, if we can have an Annie that does not have red hair, I think we can have a Daddy Warbucks that is not bald.
No, obviously everybody that protested the 2014 version, it was only about the hair and there was nothing underneath that resentment that people had.
There was nothing there's nothing else that was very specific about that interpretation of Annie.
No, totally randomly people didn't like it. I mean, I don't have anything against having like an iconic look to a character, except for, as we're now like referencing if then you use it as an excuse to not have diversity. But like I think that it's like good that there's like a way of distinguishing that character, because it also like helps you kind of cut down on time to like establish who it is, that kind of
Everybody
thing.
has a look. Yeah.
I just wish that he wasn't bald because it freaks me out. But if it weren't that, if it were something else, I would be okay with it.
It looked very skeletal, as opposed to I feel like the 82 version, which was more proportional of like, this is a rounder shape.
He had a better head for it.
What is the song that he and Annie sing together? What is that song called?
Together at Last?
Yeah. I don't need anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't need anything but you. I'm going to play a little bit of it.
We're two of a kind, the happiest pair now. Like Fred and Adele, we're floating on air now. And what's the title of the dream that's just come true? I don't need anything.
Anything.
Anything. I don't need anything but you.
Yesterday was just awful. You can say that again.
This was the first
Yesterday
time
was just awful.
But that's not now.
That's then.
This was the first time I've watched that number and enjoyed that song. Shockingly.
They are very cute together.
They're very cute, and I think it's the choreography and like the moments he has them, like Rob Marshall has them do in different parts of the like house. And then they get on the table and do the dance. And I was like, yeah.
This number is very, like, this is how it's typically staged, you know, when I played Annie. This was how it was staged.
I forgot, who was your daddy, Warbucks?
Harry Connick Jr. I was in the live TV.
Of course. Yeah.
And Nicole Sershinger was gross. This is why in the original like stage version, this is why Annie and Warbucks I feel like work together. It's just so cute and leans in on how cute it is. Yeah, and it's fun to see him like indulge into it because that's like his journey, you know.
Yeah, I liked their chemistry a lot. I thought that they loved each other.
Yeah.
We're gonna be a family and stuff like that. But I also buy into the chemistry in the 82 version. So
the entire time after NYC happened, I was like, I think it's funny that we told Molly that it's unbelievable for him to have a change of heart that he wants to adopt Annie in like the 82 version when it literally happens in NYC start to finish. And that's
it's like 25 minutes into the musical when he decides he's going to adopt her in this one.
I want to defend my point last week, though. I was saying that he was such an asshole at the beginning that I was like, that's a real long way to go. Victor Garber in the beginning of when the first scene he comes on, he's just like, I'm busy. And so like that journey is not the football length field that other man had to go.
That's true.
That other man.
Bigger. I guess a lot of times the 82 there's like bigger character changes because like Hannigan gets redeemed. Yeah. Daddy Warbucks like goes really.
It's a cartoon.
Like, really
82
gets
version
softened.
is a cartoon.
Yes, which is perfect.
No notes.
Had a question about, did they explain in this version why he wants an orphan for Christmas? Or do we just like backfill that information when he's later like, I was an orphan, that like he was shopping around to adopt somebody?
I mean, she does have the line where she says, Grace says that it was for his image.
Yeah, his image has been bad.
But we don't see like a photographer, because isn't in the 82 we like, they talk about the fact that they're going to have a photographer there and stuff. Yeah. And we don't see it, like, getting publicized, do we?
No.
It's all
off stage.
Off stage,
yeah.
Yeah.
Grace comes in and goes, the photographer just took the greatest shots.
Yeah. Everything happened off stage, and we're just now going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's listen to NYC. Finally, in this stupid series of Annies, this is the only time we'll be able to listen to it.
It took us the second Annie to listen to NYC.
NYC just got here this morning. $3, 2 bags, 1 me.
This is my theory.
So, the Annie cinematic universe theory that you have?
The Rob Marshall cinematic universe?
Oh, yeah.
This is my theory that this is where Rob Marshall got the idea to do Chicago the way he did it, where everything is like a scene, like a scene within a scene, or there's diegetic sound happening.
Mhm.
Because in NYC, as it is staged in the musical on stage, the star to be is a girl who just arrives in New York City, the song they're singing about, and she sings about how she's going to be a star because she's now arrived. She's got $3, she's got 2 bags, and she's got 1 me. And that's kind of like her thing.
So
you know what I mean? But in this version, they make it where this song is in the show that they are seeing on stage.
Mhm.
So it is transitioned from being non-diegetic sound, which is sound that is happening outside of the world in which the characters actually live, to being, I have to explain this for our mothers, to being diegetic sound, which is now sound that the characters are experiencing in real time and we are experiencing along with them. So I think this is like where he started like getting the idea of like separating those two for Chicago, which was like why Chicago was such a big deal, because it was the first time in a long time that a movie musical had like used that conceit in a different way. Nothing?
I mean, I loved that intro to theater lecture. That was great.
Thank you so much. That's 3 credits.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of silly at first until I saw the fact that this was the original Broadway Annie, and then I was like, oh, that's fun then that she was like on stage and whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure right in the stage show, this is not part of them seeing a Broadway show. They're just like walking around New York, and that
Yes.
the NYC bit is,
Yes, at the end of NYC, they see a movie. And then during the movie, that's when Annie falls asleep, and then he sings the little tag at the end of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the two bags and 3 bits or whatever girl is
Yeah.
not
2
part
bags,
of
3 bits,
Tuppence a bag. Yeah.
shave,
Shave and a haircut.
shave and a haircut too.
Yeah.
I just want to say though that this song is a better song than the movies. The Let's Go to the Movie song that they do in
Thank
the
you
80s
for
version.
acknowledging that. I
There's
literally was
one
going
flaw.
to end this.
One flaw. I do kind of also.
Punjab is not the flaw, to be clear. Punjab, not the flaw.
No, everything about Punjab is great.
No.
I'm taking the heat off of you, Adam, because we've
We're gonna
canceled you so
cancel
much
Molly.
in the last 2 episodes.
RJ,
Yeah.
you're next.
I'm next.
Okay, so I do kind of hate the song NYC though, only because I hate all media that's about how unique New York City is for having all the features that every major metropolitan area in the world has. And it's like people thinking New York is like distinctive for any of these reasons is like the one version of American exceptionalism that we all pretend is sophisticated for some reason and not just like actual jingoism. Like, I don't know why we all act like this is acceptable. Firstly, Chicago has everything that they say in this line. So it's like not even true within the US. And secondly, like there are other cities. You know, there's like an entire world where there are other cities and there are things like cab drivers and like windows you can look in and see the things in the stores. None of these things are unique to New York City, and everyone acting like they are and us all nodding along is like a very insane social contract that we've all decided we need to abide by. And I'm not doing it anymore, okay? I'm not.
Molly is taking down coastal elites.
Yeah.
We're starting starting with New York and working our way.
Those of us in the flyover states really suffer.
It's about time we speak out.
You know what? Molly really connected to the movie Christmas in the Square.
Yeah, the wickedest witch of the middle.
I can't believe that musical has been name-checked in this podcast more than anything else we've said.
It's the most relevant thing we've ever watched.
Well, you know what? She gave us a vaccine and she gave us Christmas on the Square. So.
Thank you, Dolly.
No,
Thank you for all you've
you're
done.
not wrong. Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I don't get it. And also other countries, I feel like, don't do this about their cities, where they're like, nobody's like, London.
The only city in the world you can get food at 2 a.m. and someone will take you in a car to a new place and you pay them. It's called a cab driver. London invented these things. I realized that I lost my mind as I was writing this note in the Google Doc, and I wrote, New York City is the only metropolitan area metropolitan things. That was a terrible line reading.
Just a sprinkling of metropolitan. Just give
only
us a little
metropolitan
bit of...
area metropolitan things is what I wrote in my notes, because I can't even make a sentence because it makes me so mad. Yeah.
It was like the start of NYC, and I was like, oh, it's giving us FAO Schwartz. And what do they show? The FAO Schwartz, honey.
Which, if we're going to talk about exceptionalism, FAO Schwartz.
Bring back FAO Schwartz.
Bring back FAO Schwartz.
Famously, my mom left me at an FAO Schwartz once because I refused to leave.
Intentionally?
And so she was like, it was like, fine, you can stay here. And she had like one of her work friends like, can you stay in the store and watch him?
That's amazing.
But I need to leave to teach him a lesson. And he was
that was a running bit that my siblings and I would do anytime that we couldn't find our parents, like for the briefest moment. We would be like, oh, this is it. That was their plan all along. They waited 17 years and they were going to leave us in this parking garage.
I will say the best part of NYC, like just the song in general, is in the Star to Be solo.
Yeah.
It's
the
when
belt.
and when she goes, tonight, the why? That's so funny.
Why not?
Why not?
It's NYC.
And I do wish more Star to Be's. I think on stage they do more, but they play that joke a little bit.
I did like visually the production reference to Singin' in the Rain, how it kind of looked like the Broadway lullaby sequence from the movie. I liked how that all kind of was supposed to reference that. Okay. Audra.
Period.
McDonald.
Period.
Our Lord and Savior, Audra McDonald.
I mean,
she is truly the best part.
She is so good in this, and it's actually a crime how good she is. Can she win a Tony for this? Something that has not been.
Can they play this movie on a projection screen at like the Richard Rogers Theater?
Sure.
So that she could get nominated for a Tony.
She crushes everyone else in this movie in terms of talent.
It really is crazy.
And effortlessly. Like she does there's no effort. She's not exerting any effort. It just comes off naturally.
She also, like, the craziest thing she does in this is she makes Grace a real person.
Yeah.
Which I think is, like, pretty hard to do because, as we talked about last week, she's given, like, nothing in terms of, like, text of who Grace is at all. But the way she, like, just delivers all of her dialogue is so grounded and, like, real, but I am so impressed anytime I see her do anything, and it's such a testament to how good she is. And like we all know that she literally has 6 Tonys, so it's nothing like new that we are reporting back to you, dear listener. However, I can't let it not be said on this podcast how good she is. Especially because this might be the only time we ever talk about her on this podcast.
Yeah, make more movie musicals, Audra. I do though. I kind of like that she gets together with Warbucks in this version.
Okay, yes, thank you. I know that's why when you brought it up earlier, I was like, I so buy her chemistry with Victor Garber that
he is her employer. He is
okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Stepping back from that perspective, it's not great. But Gwen Verdon was that? No.
Gwen
Who was
Verdon?
it?
Anne Ryan King.
Anne Ryan King's version. She's like constantly chasing after Warbucks. She's like the most low status character in the room always. And I just like, there's just like no reason for them to be together. But literally when Warbucks, the first time he's like, no, send her back, I want a boy. The look she gives him gives her more status and equality and more chemistry with him than anything that happens in the 82 version.
Yes.
She knows how to like give somebody the nonverbal cues that tell you this is an equal and respecting relationship in which we can build something else off of it. And I was like, okay, now I'm on board. I can appreciate this.
It does feel like in the 82 version, it fully is the thing where he was like, he didn't even notice that she was a woman until she wore a dress. And in this one, maybe he didn't notice how he was attracted to her, but he definitely noticed and respected her as like a person.
Right.
Because
it's like gross.
Bare minimum.
Yeah. Well, it's gross in the 82 version if you think they're going to have the same dynamic that they've had throughout the movie as a married couple, then like that's not good. But in this, I feel like you could transition this the kind of relationship they have, you could transition into a romantic relationship pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm dying for these two to get together, but I also wasn't mad that they did. Whereas in the 82, I just found it like straight up offensive that they would get together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's the only note, not Punjab. Punjab, no notes.
Punjab, perfect, no notes. I also but then I think it's interesting, Adam, what you told us about the like nerves from the executives about having a mixed race couple, because the one thing I didn't like was that she had like a very weirdly small reaction to the engagement ring at the end.
Mm-hmm.
He like turns her around and she's like, oh, a ring, okay, yeah, I like it, that's nice. Like that's what her facial expression serves me, not like I'm being proposed to, which firstly like is pretty shocking because you had very little romantic conversation before this moment. But also, even if you know that your partner's proposing to you, usually people have a pretty big reaction from what I understand of the experience. So it's like very weird to me that she like almost doesn't acknowledge the fact that he's pulled out a ring. And I wonder now if that was
if they were told like downplay it or, make it look as nice as possible.
A platonic engagement.
Maybe just the deal is like Grace Farrell. I mean, this is a man who clearly decides things on a whim. I do not know how he's a good business person, because that's not typically how you should be as a business person.
But when it's business of the heart,
But he's very clearly was like, in the matter of a 20-minute jaunt to a Broadway show, he fell in love with this girl and wanted to adopt her. So maybe this is just a pattern for Warbucks where he just gets very into something very quickly. So Grace is like, of course you're enthralled with me. I wore this this purple gown. Of course, I'm not surprised.
I do like that I am now constructing a headcanon where he's literally proposed to her before. Like they're just like in this cycle where he keeps doing this and she's like, that's cute, Warbucks. In 3 weeks, you're going to forget this ever happened and we're not going to be engaged anymore. And she just like doesn't care. It just like doesn't faze her at this point.
I did like, this is a dumb thing, but I liked I like when you use something that's in culture, like popular culture enough that you can like visually reference it and you don't even need to know. Like I like that it's a Tiffany necklace and it's Tiffany because it's the Tiffany blue box. And I just
because
was like,
it's iconic, maybe? Perhaps?
I would say Tiffany is more iconic than a bald head girl.
Mr. Clean would like to have a word, Adam, because a brand was built on that bald head. Okay.
I liked the Tiffany. I want a Tiffany necklace. Somebody buy me a Tiffany necklace.
Well, we're recording this the day before our
wedding anniversary.
3rd-year wedding anniversary.
Oh.
That's tomorrow.
Gosh, Adam, I don't know why you're so pointedly telling me to buy you a Tiffany necklace. I'll do it, okay?
Oh my God.
I was looking at you, which we all saw because we're all all the
we're all in the room
listeners
together.
are seeing this.
Victor Garber and Audra McDonald saw us looking at each other.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. We haven't unmuted their mics.
We haven't unmuted. You're on mute. Audra, you're on mute.
Audra, you're on mute. You're going to want to... Yep. It's a
little arrow.
Oh, she's going to switch to her iPad because it's not working on this.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Let's talk about tomorrow.
Oh, yes, the tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, this movie did it so
does not shy away from tomorrow.
Yes, Rob Marshall likes tomorrow, so that's a big
his
change.
one flaw.
Here's what I will say. I know tomorrow is not Molly's favorite song. It's not a lot of people's favorite song. I understand that. I do, however, think this is a movie, as opposed to the 82 version, this is a movie by someone who likes the property of Annie and wanted to make Annie, as opposed to being like, I want to take that, but like redo it to a point that I can enjoy it. Just if that makes sense.
No, totally. I think he really enjoys the source material, and I think things are always better when they're directed by somebody who enjoys the source material rather than trying to like subvert it or do something new. I mean, you can do something new with it, you can do something fresh, but like you have to love the original thing. I think should be like a requisite for directing musical theater.
Yeah, especially a revival or a
It's a known IP.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, tomorrow. So Annie sings it at the top to establish with Sandy, you know, like closer to the original story in the original script, that it's what she sings to kind of like help her cheer herself up.
Yeah, cheer herself up, especially in the moment where she names Sandy basically, and Sandy comes to her, and that's like the cheer up moment. At the end of the movie, Grace reprises Tomorrow, but in the context of her singing it to Annie to remind her that even though the mud just came and will take her to you know, because they're their parents, even though I think she's already like emotionally decided that like I want to be with Warbucks and this family, that, you know, the sun will come out tomorrow. And I think it was just, I felt like it was so clever because Annie had this reaction that like, it's almost like you're singing the song that I sing, like, you know, like you're speaking the language that I tell myself, which kind of makes it that like this is a real connection, that we have like something so true, like this bond is so true.
I also really enjoyed the 82 version. Doesn't really give you like a sad Annie ever in the movie, like
Sanny.
Like she's always kind of like just plucky the whole time. Even when she's kidnapped, she's like
Kid Nanny.
Enough. She has these retorts in the car. The only time she's like a different kind of energy is when she's like frightened and she's running away. Mm-hmm. And then that's like, but there's no point at which it's like she's like crying or anything.
Yeah.
And I did kind of like this moment to have Annie like be upset. It did feel a little Disney princess when Aurora finds out that she's gonna leave the woods to go be a princess, and she was like, but I just met a man, and like goes and cries in a room. It did give a little bit of that, but I mean, she would be giving up the Warbucks house for the
Mudges. You gotta give me Hero's Journey. I gotta see the fall. I need to see Annie fall so I can see how she can rise back up.
The Phoenix.
And it was very kid-like of like, I'm just so overwhelmed, I'm just going to go cry.
Yes.
Like, I can't really express what's happening.
My emotions have hit a peak that I literally have no words anymore.
Yeah.
And just like that motherly instinct of Grace to comfort her.
I think I partially liked Grace and Warbucks getting together in this version because I just want Audra McDonald to be my mom.
To sing to me and hold me.
I was just like, well, I mean, this is such a great deal for Annie that I can get on board with it for that reason. Yeah.
The sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When you're stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, you just stick out your chin and grin and say,
Audra McDonald do this thing where she is like so like she has such a good mom energy, but she's also not like desexualized because of it. Do you know what I mean? Like she's also like this beautiful like object of affection. Like she like does both perfectly. How does she do that? Can she teach me? I want to be her.
She even like does it. She's even doing it in like the Gilded Age. She's like in that, and she's obviously great. I don't know.
I think it's the combination of the voice and honestly that jawline. I think there's something about jawline. Like
glass.
I look at you and I have no choice but to just like be in awe and revere you.
And she has that like smile. Like her teeth are so big.
Yeah.
She just has like a very like gentle.
Yeah.
Sweet smile.
Yeah. She's just so warm and her voice is so perfect. So I just want to like
I know.
I want her to literally sing everything.
Can you imagine being her child? Like she has children. Could you imagine?
Daddy played piano.
Oh my god. I would lose it.
Give us that movie musical.
Oh my gosh, I love Ragtime, you guys. I would be so jazzed if they did it. Sarah Brown is
jazz.
I would be jazz.
For ragtime
jazz.
The people call it ragtime.
Sarah Brown is one of those roles that I would love to play and literally can never. But
not allowed.
Absolutely, very important that woman's a Black woman. But I just,
I don't know.
Well, we just want to make sure that for the people that may do Ragtime the movie musical, because we know you're listening, please make sure to consult us. Because I think we have
notes.
A lot of the movie musicals this year did not consult us, and I think that was a big issue as to why.
It showed,
Yeah,
I think our email is open, you all, and I think we've made our
we know the password to it
as consultants.
Yeah.
Very clear.
And our email was open in 99. Okay, it was an AOL, and it did take 10 minutes to check, but
no one could make calls.
Yeah, no one could be on the phone.
My mom recently told me the story of the first time that she saw someone get an email in like the 80s. She didn't even receive it herself, but she like had a colleague who got email and that he was like in Sweden and he sent them a message and everyone in their office like gathered around the computer to be like, this is so amazing. Pete sent us a message from Sweden.
See, where is this musical?
Yeah.
Someone make this musical.
Someone make a Mary Tyler Moore, but my mom musical,
emailing
please.
For the first time.
Yeah. But, moving to the big city of Minneapolis, making her way.
The big cheese.
The big
cheesecake.
The big.
I do want to say, my favorite thing once again about Annie was Sandy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say FDR.
No, that dog came right out of Central Casting.
Absolutely.
It looked perfect, and also the Christmas tree was very well dressed. Very good job.
Yeah, the Christmas decorations were great.
Canonically a Christmas movie?
How have we watched like 7 Christmas movies in the course of this era?
Because Christmas and musicals this scale of Christmas goes with musicals. So you don't know what you're going to end on. It's got to be either a wedding or Christmas.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 options.
That was Evan Hansen's biggest flaw, I think.
Oh gosh, not enough Christmas.
And no Punjab.
No Punjab. That was what they were missing.
No.
I do want to say about Sandy, I forgot to say this the first time, that definitely my old dog Sam, if that was the way of determining if he was really my dog, was whether he would come when called, we would have been failing that test. He would have been going off to the pound. I don't know about Friedrich, but
that's literally what we said about Friedrich. It was like Friedrich would not even. First of all, Friedrich couldn't even sit across us like 6 yards.
He would be on the cop. He would be like, "Please pet me.
Yeah.
Please pet me."
I want you to now call Friedrich right now and just see what happens.
Friedrich.
He's laying down. He's not going to get up.
No.
I did like the moment.
He's like, we should be all asleep. What are we doing?
I'm gonna demonstrate the moment that I liked for the visual media.
Yeah, great.
So the Sandy's like walking away from the cop, and the cop is like, "Hey, you, come back here." And Sandy literally does this.
An off the shoulder.
And over the shoulder look back at the cop, and I was like,
Like full Judy Garland and Me in St. Louis by the window looking at the boy next door. It's like Vaseline on the screen.
It was great. No note for Sandy.
Good job, Sandy.
Well, let's talk about what people have been saying about this movie. So this is interesting. Obviously, this is not a full feature-length film that was released in theaters. So the only review that I could find was in the New York Magazine for 99 from John Leonard. So I'm just going to read the whole thing because it's not very long. Of yet another Annie, the best that can be said is that minus commercials, it's only an hour and a half. Whereas the big screen Hollywood version of the Broadway musical ran 2 hours and 8 minutes, after which some of us began to suspect that some kids deserve to be orphans.
Yikes!
Oh my God!
To lose one parent is a tragedy, but to lose two begins to look like carelessness.
In this Rob Marshall production, Kristen Chenoweth and Audra McDonald are better than they needed to be, which is exactly what we said. Mm-hmm. And as much as I cherish Carol Burnett, she played Miss Hannigan in the movie like a Mongol horde. Kathy Bates is less cartoonish and more Dickensian. Likewise, Tim Curry versus Alan Cumming, whose rooster is a slimeball triumph here, as Daddy Warbucks Victor Garber, who can sing, had to improve on Albert Finney, who can't. In homage to something or other, Andrea McArdle, the original Annie, shows up as star-to-be to belt out NYC. At least the brat herself, Alicia Morton, appears without curls, but she still has to sing tomorrow. Nor will we even get into what Harold Gray, the right-wing comic stripper, really felt about Franklin Roosevelt, who shows up to find homes in his welfare state for all these leaping lizards.
Woof!
I think this man hates children.
Yeah.
I do think this man hates children and really hated the 1982 movie version.
Yeah. I don't know
he
what
said
his
everyone
problem
was better in this one. But let's see what the people have to say. So on Letterboxd, we have Wesley R. Ball, who gave it 1 star and said, years from now, when historians look back on the career of Rob Marshall, there are 2 particular films that I pray to the cinema gods above that they will miss or ignore. Pirates of the Caribbean 4 and this.
I don't know if I agree that this is one of his worst.
Did Rob Marshall do Pirates of the Caribbean 4 as well?
I guess he
I
did.
believe he did.
Okay.
Macklemore.
The?
Whoa.
Wow. Finally, a voice we haven't heard.
Let him in from the waiting room.
Oh, sorry.
Despite us thinking about this, gave it 4 stars and says, incredible that they wrote an entire movie just to have somewhere to put the song Easy Street. That could have been funny if I hadn't botched my reading of that review.
Well,
and Kate did not give it a rating, but she did say, do we think Victor Garber would want to adopt a 29-year-old lesbian because I'm out here?
I think he would.
Good. Yeah. So we will use the closer that we didn't use last time, which is what comic strip would you like to see turned into a musical?
I have to think of ones I like. So we can't obviously use Charlie Brown.
We can't use comic strips that have actually turned into...
Or I should say Peanuts, which is the official comic
Yeah,
strip.
I think it's not fun to use one that's already been used.
And we can't use Little Orphan Annie. So,
yeah,
just to remind us of what's been done before. I would say mine is probably Calvin and Hobbes, which is like
a Winnie the Pooh TYA, or like a full, on Broadway,
like a full. I think the fun thing about, first of all, Calvin and Hobbes is very fascinating, and if you don't know anything about the cartoonist who created it, and then now like has nothing to do, like is like just stopped abruptly and is like not. Did not go the way of Charles Schultz, where he like kept doing it for a long time past whatever. It's very interesting, but I think Calvin and Hobbes is so fun because it also gives you, like Annie, it gives you the kid who's absolutely too precocious and knows way too much about all of the things, and I think that's always like a fun bit to see. And plus you get some like magical realism with his like toy tiger, like his stuffed tiger, like being real. So I think, all that is good.
Yeah, you could give a, cursed child magic on stage.
Yeah, and his parents are very funny in the comic strip. because they're so exasperated with him as a person.
I think I'm just burnt out by Calvin and Hobbes because I feel like in the early 2000s there was that bumper sticker of Calvin peeing on every car. Do you know what I'm talking about? That image?
I know what you're talking about, but I thought you were going to say in the 2010s it became very hipster to be like, oh, Calvin and Hobbes licked so much wisdom.
True.
And they like really knew what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Man.
That's true. It was very that. Tumblr. Very
both.
Tumblr.
I
Very
mean,
Tumblr.
I definitely I don't have it anymore, and I don't know when I got rid of it, but I owned like a collection of the Calvin and Hobbes strips because I mean they are like genuinely funny and to be annoying. Like there was like a lot of like specific philosophical stuff that he like put in because that was the reference to Hobbes. But...
Yeah, I do actually though love the idea of turning it into a musical because I feel like if you want to steal something from both shitty conservatives and hipsters, turning it into a musical is the surest way to do that.
Yeah.
Once we get it, y'all, you're not going to be interested anymore.
Right, we got Annie and we made Warbucks a Democrat. Okay.
We got Annie.
We got Annie.
We got Annie.
Ding, 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 ding,
Oh,
ding,
no.
ding.
No.
We're not doing that.
Guys, can you let Punjab in the chat, please? I'm sorry. Punjab, your mic, you're muted.
Oh, no.
Who wants to go next?
RJ, what comic strip? I have one if you're one.
Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
I think I would do Dagwood because I think I want to see that giant sandwich on stage, and like it's a fun conceit of like a diner. I think like a would shenanigans ensue. The other one that I was thinking of too was
Family Circus.
Family Circus. Yeah, I thought was actually
my mother's favorite.
I actually thought you were gonna say Family Circus, so that's why I didn't say it first. But that would have been my other choice too, is to do Family Circus, which I feel like would be a very like a Charlie Brown vibe.
Now, if you want to talk about, I think people think it's like Charlie Brown, but when you go back and read a lot of the early Charlie Brown, they're very like dark. Like he's very dark, and Family Circus has always been very middle of the road, like just like the most milquetoast. And I thought it was very funny as a kid because that's like what it's playing at, but like there's nothing behind it.
I think we gays could probably camp up Family Circus in some way that would make it interesting.
Honey.
I want, you know what it is? I want like Sunday in the Park where they set up the tableau and then it freezes and then the frame appears.
It's the most serious piece of media about art and how important it is.
But how
Family Circus.
But there has to be one scene where they just do the like, you know, the one where it would just be the house and it would be all the dotted
the line
lines.
Of where the kids bed. That's what everybody knows about Family Circus for sure. Yeah. And they're in that pose to begin, and then they break into like an extremely modern dance.
Absolutely.
Like, very
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say Family Circus, but you lean into the circus and it becomes that
The Greatest Showman.
The Greatest Showman.
The
greatest movie musical ever made, as Adam famously said.
I think I said the best film ever made, period.
Yeah, absolutely. Best piece of media in any genre, honestly.
Best art.
Better novel than anything I've ever read.
The greatest art.
Greater opera than anything that's ever been sung. Anyway, I would like to see, there's a comic strip called High and Lois. Are you familiar with this comic strip?
I don't think so.
What is it
it's
called?
just like, it's called High and Lois, and it's about this like middle-aged couple that's just very sweet and loves each other, and I want to see it's already good.
I don't
but
think
I
I've
want
ever
to see
seen
a
this
positive last 5 years, just series of ballads about this middle-aged couple liking each other.
This is familiar to me now because it's the hair shape.
I've never seen this.
Yeah, I don't know. It was in my local paper growing up. And
the Sunday
up,
comic.
did you guys always
in the weekday comics too?
Did you take the like when your parents would like you would just like go immediately?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I actually, so when I was growing up, like Sunday mornings were like nobody talked to each other because we were just reading the paper the whole time, and it was actually genuinely annoying as the youngest member of the family who was like still struggling to learn how to read, that like everyone was like reading the paper. I don't actually know that my siblings, I don't know what they were doing, probably just not hanging out with their little sister. But yes, I would get so excited for the comics because it was like I could participate in the family activity of what we're doing now is reading the paper. But truly, I mean, my parents we had 3 papers delivered to our house every day, and like all of Sunday morning was just reading the paper.
That's crazy.
The Times, the Journal, and the Minneapolis Gazette.
It was the Wall Street Journal, and then it was the Pioneer Press and the Star Tribune because I grew up in the Twin Cities, so they got both of the local papers. Yeah.
That checks
Lots
out.
Lots of different coverage for the 2 cities that are next to each other.
I mean, they had slightly different focuses. Yeah, for sure.
Was one more liberal, one was more conservative?
Maybe a little bit. I would guess maybe the Star Tribune's like a slight bit more liberal. And I also think that my impression was that the Star Tribune was a little bit more like nationally focused, and Pioneer Press would give you like more locally based stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knee high by the 4th of July.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's like really curious about what the newspaper landscape was like in the Twin Cities in the 90s.
Well, now more than ever, local media is so important. So,
so please make sure you donate
to us and our Patreon,
to our newspaper subscriptions.
Yeah.
Please help support our tech efforts so that we could get Audra McDonald onto the podcast finally. She's been struggling the whole time.
Waiting in the waiting room.
I think she's with a Kindle now, trying to get on. It's really
man,
tough.
I think she's just dialing in. So
yeah.
Great. Next week, final Annie 2014, Quvonjane Wallace. So.
I'm looking forward to, I'm hoping now that there are going to be some big changes because we've watched 2 versions of Annie. So I'm looking for it to be something new.
And this will be a 15-year difference as opposed to the 82 and the 99.
So it's like almost 20, but not hugely different.
17 versus 15.
Yeah.
Just knowing that in like 12... No, not 12. In 10 years, we'll probably get another Annie.
I mean, we just got one that we decided we're not going to do. Because I'm not...
Because live TV doesn't count.
It's a different medium.
I just don't want to do 4 Annies in a row, to be quite honest. That's why I didn't want
the original dream, but Adam had to crush my dream.
I think I also don't want to watch 4 Annies in a row, but I also think that it is outside of our scope to do a regular episode, at least, on a live TV version. It's such a different thing than adapting something onto film.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Easy Street.
Bum, bum.
Street.
That's where we're going. Because Rob Marshall kept doing halftime for the end of his songs. Na be. And then right at the bar. Doom
beep. Blackout to commercial. Thank you for listening to the best revival of a podcast, Showgays. You can find us on social media. Adam is at Adam Noecker on Twitter. RJ is at RJ Food Rocks on Instagram. And Molly is at Molly Matiny on Instagram. This episode was edited and mixed by Adam Noecker. This has been an Ampliverse production. You can find our show page and more information at theampliverse.com. If you'd like to send us your own takes on the movie we just watched, reach out to us via email and we might read it aloud on the show. Our email is showgazesmoviemusical@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your podcasts. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to help others find the show. And now, as always, the show must go on, so stick around to hear what we're going to be watching next episode.
The city called. They're coming to inspect. You gotta clean this whole place up.
Aren't they supposed to give notice?
Aren't I supposed to be married to George Clooney?
Who's George Clooney?
Exactly, girlfriend. Exactly. No breakfast till this place is spotless.
Yes, Miss Hannigan. It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us. Sandy, wait! Stop!
Why are you running?
It gets me places quicker.
Little kids.
Will, this is really gonna help your race for mayor. She's a foster kid from Harlem.
I'm here on behalf of Will Stacks, and he would like to take Annie out for lunch.
You can keep me as long as you want.
She's kidding.
So what's the hustle?
The more we're seen together, the better it is for my campaign.
I bet if I moved in with you, you become president.
You're not really thinking about doing this.
Whoa. So this is what it's like living with a billionaire?
The worst thing in the world you can get is a little taste of something good because it never lasts. And from then on out, the only thing that you can taste is not that taste.
Huh?
Do something nice for Annie, not just for the press.
You get air sick?
I've never been in the air before. I threw up on the swings once. Made you something. That's me, and that's you.
Your secret's safe with me. That you care.
It's a miracle.
We found her parents.
We think so.
Well, hey, this is a joyous occasion.
The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow. We're gonna be okay, Sandy. There'll be sun. The sun will come out tomorrow. So you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come on, man.
When did this city get so musical?
Sometimes what you're looking for is right in front of your face.
Hey, Mr. Will Stacks. Look for me, Colleen Hannigan. And like me on Facebook.
I don't like you in Harlem. Why would I like you on Facebook?
You think you're better than me?
I do think I'm better than you.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.